Folks, I'm your host, BKP. It is Nap Wednesday. I got to take a nap. I'm not fit to be around, okay? So it is Nap Wednesday. We're almost done with the show. I've asked a couple questions because I for one, I enjoy politics. Did you notice I had to pause for that? I don't... Let me say this. How do I say this, Amanda? We could not get in trouble. I don't really like politicians, but I enjoy politics.
I get that.
I enjoy watching their next move. I enjoy watching when they don't think I'm catching on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get it.
I like that. That's what I like to do. So we are in the political season, and I love it. I call it the political posturing. Now, here is, let me give you political posturing 101. I can just imagine what people are saying to me out there, okay? This is political posturing 101. Now, time is almost up because we're getting into the first week of March, which will be qualifying, which all the people that have been floating out they may run for office, okay, actually have to go pay the qualifying fee. There's a qualifying fee to get your name on the ballot, and they have to go pay the qualifying fee, and when they pay the qualifying fee, they're running for office, period. So a lot of candidates have been out there saying they're running for office. You could tell they're serious because they have to file an intention, and we'll just put it like that, something like an intention to run so they can collect money and take donations. So they haven't filed to get their name on the ballot yet and paid the qualifying fee, okay? And that's where you sign up and your party qualifies whether you meet all of the state requirements to be on the ballot. So that's when we find out when all the rumors of who may be running go on the ballot, first week of March. I'll get the dates later. But the posturing 101 is you go to your city council meeting. If your city council is up for re-election, you go to your Board of Education meeting. If your Board of Education is up for re-election, you go to your local GOP, your Republican Party meetings. Now, I say that because I don't want you to yell at me and say, well, wait a minute, what about Democrat Party meetings? One, there are Democrat Party meetings in North Georgia. I don't want that taken wrong. But you're still in an area that votes 76% Republican. So, and here's the worst thing about that. Amanda, I always try to stay out of trouble, but then it's days like this where I'm dealing with lack of sleep that I say things I should not, okay? The sad part about local government is so many Democrats run as Republicans because they know that's how you get elected. So I have been... All right, now, when I say this, you're going to wonder who I'm talking about, but I'm just saying, I'm just picking this out. I'm picking it out, okay? Let's just say it's tax commissioner in your county. All right? Just say, let's use an example. It's tax commissioner. Well, I interview the candidates. And if you have not watched any of the interviews, I know I get silly and I get, sometimes I say things here and horse around. But when I do a candidate interview, you know out there, for those of you that know that, I get serious with my interviews. This is like yesterday with Speaker Ross, and I do serious interviews. So when I do candidate interviews, and we're just saying tax commissioner, people look at me because I want to know their Republican values. I want to know why they say they're a Republican. And I get people say, why do you ask tax commissioner? Why do you ask this office? Well, that's irrelevant to whether they can be taxed. No, it's not. What happens in these counties that vote 76 to 80% Republican? So many people run under the guise of being a Republican, but they're not. Being a conservative, but they're not. Just saying, just saying. So, political posturing 101. You go to your local Republican Party meeting in your county, and you sit in a room and you watch who shows up, who normally does not come to the meeting, who just started attending the meeting. Then, as soon as the meetings are done, watch who talks to who. Just stand back there, see who makes their way around the room, see about the interesting groups that come together, okay? See about the interesting groups that come together. That's how you watch. Go to your commissioner meetings. Who is showing up at commissioner meetings that has not been showing up in the past? Or at the end of the meeting, who is making their way back and forth to talk to different people? Just saying. So, the question I put out, I figured something out. This is a long shot. I mean, if I'm in Vegas, I don't even think they're ready to take odds on this. But last night I was sitting there at the Blue Ridge City Council. You ever have that I'll be damned moment? You know what I'm talking about, Amanda? It just hit you?
I do. I know
Do
what
you?
you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, you're standing back there, I'll be damned. Right? It hit me. I think I put that puzzle together. Now, I called an individual this morning because I wanted to run by an individual because I'm going to tell a couple people the political posturing and what I think the chess move is. All right? But I'm not telling everybody because I have to be careful with it. It's a dangerous move. It's like you're playing chess and you know you're close to saying checkmate. But you have to be careful. I watched last night something that made me think that some political posturing is in place that the odds in Vegas won't even touch. Now, that being said, it is Nathan Deal. My question this morning to you is, it is Governor Nathan Deal. We're all watching the Gold Dome. This is what I got on the table. I got a little table over here. I've got a piece of legislation that I got all kinds of notes on that I've been reading about rural hospitals in Georgia. You see all those pencil notes. I was taking all kinds of notes on the back. I've been making phone calls about rural hospitals. You know, Georgia, they're getting ready to change this bill, and it's the certificate of need. Do you know what a certificate of need is for a hospital? Well, that's getting ready to change in Georgia. So not a certificate of need, but rural hospitals. So I'm reading that bill because Gilmer County does not have an officially full hospital. They have a micro hospital. But Nathan Deal, the governor, right after, and I want to start now, right after session is over, let's say I think he doesn't make a move until May. Doesn't make a move till May. Now, do you remember, okay, there's a lot of positions around the state right now. A lot of positions around the state right now. Okay? Do you remember Charlie Bethel, state senator from over in Dalton? Did he run for office and win and 2 or 3 days later get appointed to appeals court judge? So did he run for re-election over in Dalton, win, and then just a week later get appointed to appeals court judge? Who will Nathan Deal say thank you to for 8 years of service, and what positions will be available? I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Okay, you sent me something here, Amanda. Obama's beheading story. Now, is that something? This this is not old news, but this is something that you and I talked about here for a little bit. And you got anything on this?
So it's Kehinde Wiley, I guess that's his name.
Right.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He is a New York City-based artist, and he is known for his portraits of African American. And let's see, this is him right here. That's Kehinde Wiley. This is Kehinde Wiley and Obama with his portrait. So Kehinde is known for his, I guess, hipster art, I guess you could call it. I don't know what they call it up there. It's edgy. You would know, you're from the north. But here is a couple portraits that Kehinde did of African Americans. I guess these are storybook characters. I don't know what I'm reading right here. I don't know who these people are, but this specific portrait right here is called Judith Beheading of Holiness. I don't really know anything about that, but the Syrian general Holiness from the book of Judith.
Well, it's the New York City. He's a New York City-based artist who became the first Black American to ever paint an official presidential portrait, unveiling 2 paintings in 2012 that began circulating on social media this week. Both paintings, titled Judith Beheading, whatever that is, portray Judith beheading the Assyrian general. Oh man, that's 7-8 syllables in that word.
I know. I don't even. But that's beside the point.
All right, I have another question for you.
What's
okay.
that?
Now I'm okay. Now sometimes I shouldn't ask you questions without you knowing in advance. Okay, I for one will say African American, but I don't like to. I don't like to. I don't like to say it.
I get that.
And I have a friend of mine that if you meet him, and you probably will one day, you will probably meet this gentleman. He'll probably come to the office. He does about once a year. And if you say African American to him, obviously now you're picking up. If you say African American to him, he will let you know he has never been to Africa in his life. He's never been there, probably will never go, and you don't need to ever call him African American again. So I mean,
right? I agree with that.
Well, why? Well, the other day you just said you used your political correct voice.
Well, it is politically correct. So
I understand. I just always wonder what the Jamaicans think in New York City. I do. I'm serious as can be, because.
Well, they actually do probably correct people whenever they say that.
I mean, seriously, years ago in New York City, Jamaicans and whatever. So, hey, look, we got about 15 minutes to close the show. I've got another 1 or 2 things I want to go through. We're going to take another brief break. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. We'll be back right after these messages.